Yes, sir, I am. I'm doing good. I've been, yeah, I was
Grandson?
my son-in-law, my daughter's husband, and he's the father. My three grandsons. But they're doing good. But he's
Testing one, two.
quite
Testing
ill.
1, 2.
He's in the Mercy Hospital at Fort Smith.
That's a little ways off.
Yeah, and I was there 7, 8 days from Sunday to Sunday. I just got back last night, but I knew I had quorum court meeting, and my husband and no, he's got pancreatitis, one of the most severe acute. How you doing? One of the most severe chronic cases, real chronic, real severe. So
He gets some relief.
he's slowly but surely. Yes.
Have a motion second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Whoa. I got a question. Y'all just made a motion.
Are
to
you
send-
asking me to speak? You
I
got
have a question. Yeah.
Okay, I'll recognize you.
Y'all just made a motion to send 10 items. One motion to send 10 items to the full court with a due pass.
They've all been through the committees with the due pass recommendation. That's the reason I said that. I
said-
can read them all if you'd like, but I don't feel like you need to, but I don't mind doing it if that's what you would like.
No, I mean, at this point, we still at the same point where we resume our stance from last week. This particular agenda that you're addressing came out of the county judge's office. It did not come out of the county clerk's office. There's 2 finance meetings that have been scheduled for today. And at this particular point, we'll notify you that upon advice and instruction from council, we won't participate in this particular finance meeting. Now, whether you choose to let us have our finance meeting immediately preceding yours prior to the Quorum Court meeting, that is on you.
I'm proceeding with the budget we have. It has been delivered from the county judge's office, the agenda. So we have a motion and second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, no.
Take your votes.
Ayes carry, motion
No,
passes.
you got to take your votes. Sir, it did
I heard
not.
the voicemail.
It did not.
Okay, Judge, we passed that on.
If you
now
do
adjourned.
not take the votes, you do not know.
Adjourned.
I'm telling you, it didn't pass.
I'm telling you, I'm adjourning the meeting.
Listen, same thing I said to Justice Harden. We pass on the same information to Judge Robinson. There's 2 different agendas.
Justice Franklin.
May I finish my statement? We're not going to participate in this meeting.
You don't participate.
Yeah, he just broke the rules. You just sent 10 items. You didn't identify any of them. It's the same type of thing that the judge just vetoed 2 months ago of trying to do everything in one vote.
Have you been addressed to the judge? We're now in good.
We hadn't even got
Are
started.
you the strategist of the meeting, Justice Harden?
We hadn't even got
Are
started.
you a strategist during non-meeting proceedings? So basically, you and 4 others just sent 4 items to the full Quorum Court on one vote. The same thing the county judge just voted or vetoed 2 months ago of voting on multiple items at one time. Secondly, you didn't verify whether or not you had the amount of votes to pass it out of passage, so the whole voting process on it is questionable. And I asked you to check your votes, and you did not.
I stand as I called it. These were all came from committee and passed into the finance committee, and the finance committee has approved all of these, so with no objection. So we're adjourned, Judge. We got everybody here.
You didn't have a quorum tonight either. You didn't take a roll call, you didn't do anything. You just
I don't have to take a roll
rambled through.
call if I see everybody's here.
Okay.
Okay, and Judge, it's under you.
Okay.
Judge, before we go, I have something to give the county clerk.
Okay.
We have
We need a little more time too. We need a little more time to research.
No, when you have, unless it gets really,
Yeah. Ted, you did have this technology thing that needed to be added.
where is it? Got number 10?
Yeah, you can make that number 11, but that needed to be added.
Does everybody have a copy?
Yeah. Oh, it was emailed to everybody.
The what?
It was emailed to everybody.
This was email,
An email?
and this is Monday.
Okay. 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 Yeah, you do need to, that was added to the,
Well, can we make a copy for everybody?
no, it was sent in email.
Huh? Oh, it's an email?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, what's going on?
I'm going to in just a second. I'm fixing to announce it.
You're not gonna have a meeting, did you?
Huh?
Did you notify us you were having a special meeting? Did you
Yeah.
notify everybody you were having a
Yeah,
special
we had a meeting, we had a special meeting on the emails that we sent out, the judges sent out. Guys, I'm gonna reconvene the finance committee meeting. We have one item here. It's just a resolution. Judge, would you explain, Judge? Could you just explain this, the technology resource email that we got?
That was given to me by the county clerk's office.
County clerk's office?
And that needed to be added. I think they got it from the AAC.
Okay.
It's just a requirement for, to be added to the county policy.
Okay. Could you have a copy for everybody?
It was
It's-
emailed. It was
Oh, it's an
emailed.
email? It was sent on email?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, it's just a resolution, I guess, that we would have a technology resource policy. Would anyone like it to be read? If not, it's Justice Carroll?
Am I understanding that you're convening a finance committee meeting as a special meeting with this agenda item?
With this agenda item is just it's not an item, it's not an ordinance, it's an email that came across. I was just gonna read it or acknowledge it to the full court, if they, or full finance committee being the same thing, we just received it. I just now received it, hadn't read the entire thing. It was a technology resource policy. And it was delivered by the county clerk's office. And she said everyone received it in the email
This was sent out almost 2 weeks ago
2 weeks
to
ago.
all JPs.
Okay, so everybody's had a copy of this.
My question again, Mr. Chairman, is I wasn't aware you were calling or wanted to call a special finance committee meeting prior to the Quorum court meeting.
Well, we had it on the agenda, we emailed it to everybody. It's on the agenda that was sent out, so.
You emailed a special call finance meeting?
5:15, agenda for a committee meeting, special meeting, 5:15 today, was sent to everyone, every JP.
Okay, now, my last question is, that means you had this document last week,
It means everybody had it when I got it. I just now got a hard copy.
but you didn't take action on it last week.
We didn't have it, I didn't have it last week, except it might have been on the agenda, but, or it might have been sent to us. It's not an ordinance, it's not a resolution, it's just a policy acknowledgement.
That has to be,
It has to be passed.
Has to be passed and approved. Everybody had it on their email.
but you had it last week and you did not take any action on it in your.
I overlooked it last week, as all of you did apparently.
I thought the meeting, I thought you adjourned the meeting because you didn't have a quorum last week. So what happens now with this item along with the other items that you?
This is not an ordinance or a resolution, it's strictly a policy handed out. I'm just acknowledging that we received this, and for the record, the judge, if you want to address
Let me
that.
correct that. This is a policy that the AAC, it explains that Act 504, I believe, acknowledging that all counties have to adopt a technology procedure for their county policies. And so I was reminded of this by the clerk's office last week, but it was sent out. I believe they sent it out a couple of weeks ago. So the hard copy was given to my office or to me about a week ago by the county clerk. So as to be put on this agenda, that was one of the reasons why we called a special call meeting, so that we could get this passed on to the through finance to the full quorum court, or to pass to the full quorum.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
what is the nature of the special call meeting? Because the technology request in addition to policy would not necessarily be a financial matter.
It's just a policy that I read.
Look, why is it in finance versus?
Oh.
I was just handed this policy by the county clerk and written.
So that you can make clear that all of the items pass to the full quorum from the budget committee.
Yeah, the judge just advised me, this is to make sure that the full court is aware that this policy is being passed on to the full court.
No, that,
With a due
last Tuesday, all items were not, these items were not passed through the Budget and Finance Committee. So we brought it back before the Budget and Finance Committee to approve these 10 items plus this resolution to go to the full quorum court. That's what the special meeting is about.
May I say this, and I'll leave it alone. I'm glad you said what you said, Judge, in that, in my estimation, the committee, the agenda that came out of the clerk's office, in keeping with the approved procedural order, this item has already gone through committee and been approved, but this seems like an attempt to cause JPs who objected to the nature of the meeting and how it was called and the procedures that were being followed to come back and sit in on another session of items that whomever put together the agendas for your committees last week refused to send to the clerk's office. This appears to be an attempt to get those members that declined to participate because of the advice from their attorney to participate today in efforts to pass something that Ted said don't need to be passed, that Justice Harden said don't need to be passed. It's just something that we need to read for everybody to know. And so I want to go on record as objecting to the proceedings that are before us now.
Thank you, Justice Carroll. Let me reiterate something. You just mentioned that the procedural ordinance that you feel like several of the justices feel like they passed. First of all, the reason that the agenda came out of my office is that the legislative clerk, by even your own illegal procedures and failure to pass a procedure ordinance, even though you think you did, still says that the legislative clerk is located in my office. There has not been any ordinance to change, not any change to affect either budget from the county clerk's office nor my office to make that change. And so therefore, I proceeded to keep the agenda going through my office. The legislative clerk is located in my office, even by your own illegal ordinance that you think that you passed. Number two, Justice Carroll, I hadn't recognized you. Number two, even at that, if you watched or noted June 6th, a thumb drive was sent to each one of you clearly showing that you did not pass the procedure rules, although you did proceeded to, you voted on amending, but you never voted on the actual ordinance. Number 3, even in that, you didn't suspend the rules to even proceed to pass the ordinance. So, therefore, in the spirit of conducting these meetings the way we have, I'll be glad to play it for you if you want to see it. I'm sure some of you have already watched it. And so even if you feel like, or you going by the guidance of your attorney, I'm going by the guidance of my attorney. And so therefore, we can both go by the guidance and we can deal with this in court, which I hope to be coming up real soon so that we can get through this impasse.
Judge,
Go ahead.
I have a question for you. What
Yes.
thumb drive are you referring to?
Not a thumb drive. We sent it by the clerk. Where's Hank 5 at? Did send it to Exhibit 2. What, do you remember what date that was? Okay. Well, check your emails, and I'm sure that you will see. If nothing else, check with your attorney. She got it. And no, you may not, Justice Carroll. September the 7th. So clearly it was sent to you. I would advise you to look at it. And if you don't want to take my word for it, go up to the prosecuting attorney's office. He's seen it. The county attorney has seen it. So it's just a matter of whether it's legal opinions. And I will say this. If your attorneys advise you guys not to participate, by all means, don't participate. I'm going to proceed on. So this was, the special call meeting is so that we can get these items through Budget and Finance to the full quorum. If you choose not to, then that's on you. If you choose not to vote or participate in vote, that's strictly up to you. But I'm going to say this. Whether you agree with these proceedings or agree with me on how these meetings are conducted, you have a responsibility to the people of Jefferson County. Whether you like Judge Robinson personally, personal feelings that has nothing to do or should not interfere with us conducting our business. And so I say to you that the agenda came out of my office with these agenda items that came through the committees. And so what say you on passing these to the full court so that we can have the full quorum court meeting tonight? Carol?
The meeting that we are supposedly having now, due to the fact that in finance last week, there was not a quorum, so none of the items on the agenda were passed. That is my real question right now as to how are we being manipulated into a finance meeting that failed last week with an item that you all already know is on the agenda that came out of the clerk's office. And it appears to me that you're simply trying to circumvent that process.
No, Justice Carroll, whether you feel like we're trying to circumvent a process or not. So if you are asking me, or you said that you didn't participate, were you present last Tuesday?
I was in the room.
Okay, so are you telling me that you were not present?
No, I'm saying I was in the room in the chair.
So in a room, in a chair, but you weren't, Justice Carroll? Wait, Justice Carroll. No. Justice Carroll, I'm not worried about, I'm not worried about any of that. Give it to me. I'll take it. You want to give me $400? I'll take it. 4 $100 bills if that's what you want to do. Okay, so, Justice Carroll, let's move
In the
on.
middle of a finance meeting, you
So-
chairing it? It didn't pass. How did you can't adjourn a finance meeting. Did you vote on it?
The judge took over.
He can't take over your meeting.
It's not my meeting.
It's a finance meeting.
Yeah.
Is it a finance meeting or is it not? The judge can't take over a finance meeting. He's not a sitting JP. If we're in the middle of a finance meeting, did you recall that we're in the middle of a finance meeting? So I'm gonna have to ask you to resume authority if we're in the middle of a finance meeting.
Justice Harden, if you want to finish out and get a vote on those items, go ahead.
And I have a question for you, Justice Harden. I have a question for you. If we haven't,
Hold on just a second. I said, let me get the copy.
Which one?
The one that, number 11, the new one. That's the one that's in question.
No, that was just a resolution.
That was the resolution.
Yeah.
that's the one that's in question.
Yeah.
See, that really wouldn't go to finance. That
No, it
would
wouldn't go to finance.
full court. That item really goes to full court because it's not an ordinance.
It still has to be voted on in a committee.
It's a resolution.
I don't care what it is. It has to go through a committee.
You can take it through the Human Resource Committee.
Who's chairman? Human Resource?
You can't just call a Human Resource Committee without notifying the press.
We call a special committee.
Y'all just make this up as y'all go along. Just whatever you think, you just pass it. You pass 10 items. You didn't have the votes. You won't give me a roll call on the votes that you did have. You passed 10 items at one time. Y'all just making this up as you go along. 4 people controlling everything and forcing stuff down our throat.
There's 5 of us, number 1.
4 or 5. Let me ask you this. There was a finance meeting last week and we passed items.
But there's 5 of us that feel like we're doing the right thing.
Well, 5. We had a
Well, I'll tell
finance
you
meeting
what.
last week. What happened to the items that were passed? Are you telling me that they were illegally passed? Are we not allowed to call a finance meeting?
Just say,
I'd like to address Justice Franklin. I got
Turn your mic
a world of respect for you. And I think a lot of everybody in this room. I think everybody's here for a reason. Your constituents put you here because they had trust in you. But what we got to do tonight is, I know some people said they're not participating in this meeting, is find out who's participating in this meeting we're having right now, and then find out who is not participating in it. And we need to go forward the ones that are participating in it. So the meeting, however, if you agree with it or not, will be held whether we get anything done or not. We got to move on through this instead of arguing about every damn little old thing. So
Sounds good.
that's all I got to say.
So my question to you, Justice Harden, is when you didn't have a quorum last week, we held a finance meeting based on the agenda that came out of the county clerk's office. We had a quorum. We passed things legally. And there was a quorum court agenda that came out for a quorum court meeting tonight. Are you telling the majority of the JPs here that the finance meeting they had was illegal or what they did was in vain? We don't have the ability to call a legally called quorum court meeting when we've notified the press, we've held a meeting, we had a quorum and we passed it. That technology thing that you're talking about right there, that piece of paper, we passed that last week. That's been passed, it's been discussed. Even though you admitted tonight that you didn't read it and hadn't read it, we read it and we passed it.
have you read it?
Yes.
Okay.
We passed it last
How
week.
come you didn't know
So,
about it when I started reading
I
it?
didn't speak on it.
Okay.
And Justice Carroll spoke on it to see what you were going to say, but he was aware of it and then he told you it passed last week. So my question is, we held the finance meeting last week.
The finance committee.
We held a meeting. Was our meeting in vain because it's not being recognized? And it is just basically an underhanded attempt to block legislation from other elected officials. So my question is, We called the finance meeting. Whether you participated or not, we held one, and we passed several items to the full quorum court, and it has not been recognized by you or the county judge. So are you telling me, as an elected official, that we're unable to pass things out of committee because you all didn't participate or you don't approve of it? That's my question.
That's enough said. I'm going to respond. The finance committee meeting that you held did not go through committees before they went to the finance committee. One of the items on the agenda absolutely breaks the law, but we're not recognizing your.
What breaks the law?
The one about giving the circuit clerk and full salary, full.
You're an attorney now?
Yeah, I had an attorney opinion. But anyway, be that as it said, I'm done.
We're going to move on. Again, we're going to move on to the full agenda. Justice Franklin, to answer your question, no, I didn't recognize the meeting that you had. You did not give I did not know anything about you guys giving the meeting. And then you set up an appointment.
You didn't get an email?
And you set up an appointment.
You didn't get an email. You said you didn't know. You didn't get an email?
Justice Franklin.
You just going to lie to everybody. Did you get an email?
You ought to choke every time.
Did you get an email?
You ought to choke every time you speak something talking about illegal and all that stuff.
I didn't say illegal.
Okay. Now,
I said, did you get an email?
May I finish talking?
You said you didn't get it.
May I finish talking?
As soon as you answer my question, did you get an email like everyone else?
Listen.
You said you weren't aware. Did you get an email? That's a yes or no.
Justice Franklin.
Either you're lying to us or you're not. Did you get an email with everybody else?
You ought to choke when you say lie.
Did you get an email? Yes or no?
You
said you didn't. Did you get it?
Now.
You said you didn't know. Yes or no?
Justice Franklin.
All right. That answers
Justice
the question.
Franklin. Again.
Get it right.
If you had, or you did have a meeting, you do not have the authority to appoint any chairs. You do not have the authority to appoint any. You don't have that authority.
We don't.
So it doesn't, I'm not recognizing it. So we will move on. We will move on. No. You talk about you having your own county attorney and you going by their advice. County Attorney Wynn is not in it.
You're wrong.
Justice Franklin.
You're wrong.
Justice Franklin.
And we can state the statute where you're wrong. You're wrong.
You good at state statutes.
Wrong.
You have done that.
So is the statute wrong?
You are good at that. You are good at that.
You good at blocking other elected officials' legislation.
Nah,
you good at blocking what other elected officials.
We hadn't blocked
We're at this point. We're at this point because you don't want to recognize what is being passed by the court. You're trying to block funding to pay for our representation. That's why we're here.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now let me say this.
Why is it such a big deal for us?
Let me say this.
Oh, you got to have the last word. Go ahead.
I can speak now? Thank you. Number one. The county attorney advised y'all when y'all did this that you were gonna have to pay for your own attorney. You want to do
you want to create? That's a lie. That is a lie, sir. That is a lie. That is a lie. That is a lie. That is a lie.
In an action.
You hire the county attorney.
That's right.
Those are two different things.
Two totally different things.
Okay. All right. Even at that.
Lie.
Even at that.
Lying.
Even at that. Again.
Phrase it right.
You want to create illegal legislation, and you want the taxpayers of Jefferson County.
That is a lie. Again, that is another lie.
To pay for it. Now, okay, well,
come on, give us another one.
What are you asking for? You asking for the
Did you not file a lawsuit against the Quorum Court?
Yes, I did.
Are we not able to have representation?
Yeah, you got representation, don't you? Do you not have representation?
Are you paying for your attorney and all of your attorneys with county finances?
Yes, I also pay.
So why is it that you're denying the Quorum Court?
Not denying the Quorum Court.
What are you doing then? What are you doing?
When the Quorum Court creates the action, then you have to pay for your own attorney.
You're playing judge, jury, and executioner.
Okay, what are you playing? What are you playing? I tell you
I'm performing the duties of an elected official.
Okay, well, great. So let's move on.
I have a question.
Miss Williams, Justice Williams.
I'd like to know which justices' votes count and which justices' votes do not count. What decision do we decide which justices' votes will count and which ones will not count?
Who are participating? If you vote yay, your vote is yay or nay is counted.
So if you suspended a meeting because you didn't have enough people to vote, then quorum court members who are duly elected, as the others who left out are, and they did vote, are you saying those votes do not count?
Though that meeting was not recognized by me or the committee chairs. So, no, ma'am.
You don't have to recognize it. We don't need your recognition, nothing. We don't need
Justice
your
Frank,
permission.
No, we're not going to, you know what? No, we're going to move on. If we're going to move on to the full quorum court meeting. I don't have time for that.
On another issue, please.
Yeah, they can vote, you can vote it up, vote it down.
May I speak to another issue, Judge? Before we move on?
Now, Justice Carroll, we're going to move on. It's enough.
I won't take another minute, I promise.
Justice Carroll, go ahead.
Yes, Judge, I want to be on the record as saying that I think it's a travesty of justice. I think it's sexual discrimination for you all to put forth a $30,000 raise for a white man and then turn around and deny a black woman $12,000. I think every black woman in Jefferson County, every woman, period, ought to be up in arms that we would do that. We would take a black elected official's earned income and take it from her, deny her that money that she duly earned, but then turn around with the same voice and say we want to give a white man a $30,000 raise in one lick because he got some papers, he got some credentials. I think it's a travesty of justice. I think it's sexual discrimination. I think every woman, black and white, ought to speak out on it, ought to say something about it. Every sorority, AKA, Delta, Zeta, Democratic women ought to all be in and say something
He's in a
about the
range
discrimination that's taking place against Mrs. Cook.
It's more than a minute. It's more than a minute.
And say we're going to give a white man $30,000 raise because he got a piece of paper.
Justice,
Thank you, Judge. I said I wasn't going to be long.
thank you.
Judge, let me make one statement.
Justice.
I showed the law to Justice Franklin. You cannot pay for unused absentee, unused payroll in exceeding the amount of 80 hours. We recommended to pay her the 80 hours. We could not pay her the 20-something thousand. We gave her 2,000 some odd number. I don't know exact number, but that's the amount that was allowed by law. And I showed that law to Justice Franklin. He saw it and he read it. I gave it to him on my phone.
It's a policy.
That also is a lie.
That's all, Judge.
That also is a lie. It was not a law. It was a policy created by the county judge.
Who is going to participate in the full quorum court meeting? Who all is going to participate? Okay. I'm going to move on through the agenda. And Madam Secretary, when we go through the roll, those who say present, they're present. Those who are not going to participate and say absent, they're absent. Okay. This is the agenda for the full quorum court meeting, Monday, October the 16th, Jefferson County. Meeting's been called to order. Justice Justice Harden, would you like to leave us in a word of prayer?
Father God in heaven, we come to you tonight, Lord. We just come to you with your guidance and leadership and your blessings on this court. We just ask that something be done that we can get past all the confusion and argumentation that goes on. Lord, we just ask you to be with all that we try to do for the county in every aspect of it. We ask for your guidance in all things that we do, and we ask all these things in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll, please?
Adams. Agee. Byrd. Carroll. Dumas. Franklin. Gaddy. Hardin. Holcomb. Jackson. Patricia Johnson. Reginald Johnson. Margaret Williams.
Next, we'll have the treasurer's report. That's Ms. Venetia Goodwin.
Beginning balance, 20.
Next, we'll have a reading and disposition of the minutes.
I'd like to address Assistant Clerk. There's two items on here that, just two typos, I think. The last paragraph on the, down right below the report of committees, it's got Justice Carroll and the mention was misspelled, had some typos. And the second line on the right, it says, has the type, should be right. Just a correction of those two typos.
Okay.
Other than that, I move we pass it on as presented.
Yeah.
A motion has been, was a motion and a second?
I have a second. Yeah, I have a second.
No second.
Was a motion,
Second. That's the 82nd.
motion was made
May I speak to that motion?
and properly second.
I speak to the motion.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I speak to the motion.
Go ahead, Justice Carroll.
I would encourage us to continue reading the minutes. There may be something else that just is hard to see that was appeared in the reading of the minutes. So I would ask us not to approve the minutes without being read.
Madam Secretary, would you please read the minutes? Yeah. What was that?
I made a motion
Oh, okay.
as presented. We
Okay,
have a
that-
second.
Okay, there was a motion made to accept the minutes as is, and a second
With the corrections.
with the corrections. All in favor respond by saying aye. All opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Okay, Madam Secretary, would you call the roll on the vote?
Adams.
Yeah.
Agee.
Yeah.
Byrd.
Yeah.
Carroll.
No.
Dumas. Franklin. Gaddy.
Yes.
Hardin.
Yes.
Holcomb. No. Jackson. Patricia Johnson. Oh, she got
She was in the
Reginald
restroom.
Johnson. Margaret Williams.
Yes.
4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 yes.
Okay.
That's what,
7 yeses,
yeses.
motion passes.
what was the, you said that was 6?
7 to 6.
7.
7 yes, 1 no, 3 abstain, and 1 absent.
Who was, who?
Correct.
Yes, that was correct. Count that again. We only have 12.
Need that, Hope Mary.
Yeah, so you're gonna go with, you only need 7.
We have 7.
Okay, motion passes. To accept the minutes as read.
Can I say something? I just wanted for it to go on record that I will follow the advice of council for the rest of the meeting, so they won't have to call.
That's totally up to you. Okay, yes,
I thought that motion was to read or
no,
not to accept.
no, that, made a motion to add, we had a motion already on the floor that had been seconded. So that was to accept
I
the,
understand, I thought it was the motion to read it.
it's already voted, it counts. So, okay, that passes. Next, we'll have the report of the committees. And first, we'll have judicial. And that is, okay. Justice Johnson, Patricia Johnson. Okay.
She took it back.
Okay. All right, next, Human Resource Committee, Justice Danny Holcomb with Justice AG, would you stand in for, he had,
Because I believe Human Resources had 4 items on the agenda, and they all recommended to the full court with a due pass.
okay, thank you, Justice AG. Next, we'll have Public Safety Committee, and that's Justice Roy AG.
Judge, Public Safety Committee had 6 items on the agenda, and they all recommended to go to the full court with a due pass.
Okay, next we'll have Finance Committee, Justice Ted Harden.
Judge, we had 10 items on the committee, on the meeting, had 2 items, 5 items, or 6 items came from one committee and 4 from the other, and they all passed to the full court with a due pass recommendation.
Okay, do we have any unfinished business?
Objection. We just, Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Justice Carroll?
I believe we just verified moments ago, earlier in this discussion, that there were not enough justices present or participating in that meeting to pass anything out of the Finance Committee. I don't know how Mr. Chairman just gave a report, an unwritten report, saying that everything that came to that committee was passed on to the full court. I don't understand that, and I don't understand how the chairman of the other committees gave their report by stating that the items were passed on to the full court and not the Finance Committee. I don't understand that play on words, because that would not be the correct procedure for the item to go from a committee to go straight to the Quorum Court, as Justice Harden stated a moment ago in some of his comments, that an item had not passed through committee. But those items that came from Human Resources and Public Safety that went to Finance did not make it out of Finance. because that meeting was adjourned, and I'm just shocked that chairman of the finance committee at this stage would give a erroneous report that the items came out of finance and went on to the full court. That is absolutely incorrect. Absolutely incorrect. As a matter of fact, Judge, I would say to you that all the items that fall under new business, you do not have an agenda to proceed with the court meeting, because there is no new business that's been approved. There is no new business that has been approved for this court meeting. However, if you would allow me, I'd like to make a motion to fix that for you. I'd like to make a motion that the items on the agenda that originated out of the county clerk's office that contains items 1 through 12, replace the items on the agenda that's pictured on the wall. And if I get a second, I will speak to that.
We have already discussed that that is not the agenda that we're going by.
That's why I just made the motion.
If you so choose to not to go by the agenda at hand, then I have.
New business on your agenda.
Well, it's not a problem.
You don't have any new business.
It's if you do not want to proceed with the agenda, Justice Carroll, you just said.
Judge, I really want to be respectful and
I do too, Justice Carroll.
And recognize your position of supposedly to conduct this meeting, but you are doing something that I don't know if it's legal or not, but certainly it's not keeping the parliamentary procedure or the statutes. And you have your attorney over there, and he can tell you if nothing was approved by the finance committee, you don't have an agenda to proceed on under new business. I made a motion, Justice Adams seconded, and then you said we can't do anything. I think the appropriate thing is now for you to take a vote.
Mr. Justice Carroll, Judge, may I? May I, Judge?
Yes, go ahead.
Justice Carroll, I've told the court and the judge months ago, you all have reached some impasse. I'm attorney for the county. I can't advise either of you, so I'm not doing that. So for you to say, talk with your attorney, that wouldn't be me. That'd be other attorneys. You all have got other attorneys. Judge's attorneys have told him y'all's meeting was not, you all never passed an ordinance. I don't know. I've seen the video, so I understand what they're saying. I don't know what your attorney is saying.
And all due respect, sir, what's your purpose now? What are you doing?
I'm working.
Are you making sound bites for tape, or what are you doing?
If you'll let
because
me,
I haven't said anything to
Justice Carroll, would you let him finish? Justice Carroll.
Let me respond. I'm trying to help the court and the judge understand what my role is. It's not to referee between my client, the Quorum Court, and my client, the county judge. So I wish you wouldn't try to put me in that position. You all have your attorney to talk with. You all had the prosecuting attorney to talk with too. I've told you all, I cannot referee between two clients, and I'd like for you all to respect that, please.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Order, Judge. We have a motion and a second.
Justice Carroll, there's no need for your point of order, point of personal privilege, or whatever point you want to make.
Yes.
I am advising you as presiding officer that we are not going by the agenda that came out of the county clerk's office. We are going by the agenda that came out of the county judge's office through the legislative clerk that currently resides in my office. Now, I refer to the county attorney as abstain. Your opinion on abstain is a no vote?
It's clear there are no votes when they abstain.
Okay. So if those, ordinances that was presented did not come out of the finance to come to the full quorum, then Justice Carroll is correct. We have no items to proceed on this agenda. And so
Point of information, Judge.
I'm only accepting what has come out of the county judge's office.
Point of information, Judge.
Justice Franklin.
We're at an impasse because we have two different agendas. And in all fairness, you may feel that what you're doing is right. You may feel that the law is on your side. But for the majority of the Quorum Court, there has always been an effort to compromise. For, we'll say 5, because Justice Hart said there's 5 JPs, to minimize the efforts of the majority of the Quorum Court in processing and understanding and passing legislation. It's ludicrous. Now, we properly notified the press according to the Arkansas state statutes. We held a meeting last week. We voted on it. We passed legislation. I don't see anywhere in the Arkansas State Constitution where it says that if the judge doesn't recognize what's passed out of a committee by the Quorum Court, the legislative body, that he can choose to ignore what the legislative body has passed. What I have read is that the county judge has the luxury to preside over the Quorum Court meeting without a vote, but he retains the power of veto. You cannot veto legislation or disregard legislation that comes out of a properly called and executed committee meeting, no matter how you feel about the legislation that they brought forth. Now, you have stated that there is a legislative assistant who works at the helm of the Quorum Court in your office, so that is why you're trying to retain the agenda in your office, which I don't think we'll have a problem moving that position during budget time since you pointed that out to us. But what we're running into now is we have chairmen who are pushing 10 items in one motion to pass to the full Quorum Court without a quorum, refusing to do a roll call when requested by a member of the Quorum Court because he does not want to legitimize the votes that he has. So it's easier to steamroll it through and just say the motion passes and meeting adjourned rather than count the 4 votes that he had. Now, we held a committee meeting and items were passed to the full Quorum Court. There's 2 agendas here. We have an agenda coming out of your office, which it seems as though there's no items to be discussed because you didn't have a quorum to pass the votes. And there's an agenda that came out of the county clerk's office, which has items on it that did have the amount of votes. And the compromise comes into the fact that last week there was 2 agendas, and we compared the 2. The items that were on your agenda that was not on the one that came out of the county clerk's office, we reviewed them. We talked about your items. Some of them were tabled, and we were supposed to have a special call meeting tonight, which is scheduled for tonight, to discuss the items that you were not here to talk about. An all-inclusive agenda, and we voted to add your items to ours as a compromise. We're not trying to keep you off of the agenda. However, your office and yourself seems determined to keep the Quorum Court as well as other elected officials off of the agenda because you don't like it or you don't agree with it. You don't have the authority to override a vote from a committee. You have the power of veto to veto legislation from the full Quorum Court. That is it. You preside over the meeting. You are exercising powers beyond your authority. We all know it. So while you don't have a quorum for this particular meeting that you're trying to hold and you don't have any items on your agenda, we do have another agenda out of the county clerk's office that we do plan on meeting tonight after your meeting is adjourned. So I hope you would stay and respect our meetings. We respected yours because we actually have items that have been voted on and passed with the quorum out of the committee to the full Quorum Court that we need to handle the county's business. Now, well, that may be facetious to you because you didn't approve of it, It's just not right for you to disavow the actions taken by our quorum court members here as if our votes don't matter. They only matter when you want something that you want to pass. Other than that, they don't matter.
Are you finished?
An appropriation orders takes 2/3 of the full court. So if they only had 7, that wasn't.
It was, I know that.
No, you're wrong.
I know that. We ain't worried about
I
that.
can challenge you.
We ain't worried about that.
You can repeat what you said, but you said it takes a 2/3 vote, right? Right, but we're talking about
and to
voting on
suspend the
something in
rules to
committee.
read.
You only need
2/3.
7 in committee. That's what you just told him. We've been using 7 for the past, I don't know how many years, and you just told them they needed 7 in finance, so.
If it's a non-ordinance.
Where is
If
this?
it's a non-ordinance.
No, listen. Let's stop. Okay. Justice Franklin. Justice Franklin. Are you finished?
So is he saying?
Justice
he wasn't
Franklin.
a vote?
Justice Franklin.
That's a clear question.
Justice Franklin.
Does 7 votes not pass something out of finance, whether it's an appropriation, a resolution, or whatever it is, you need 7 votes in finance to pass it. It's not a 2/3 vote in committee. People throw out things, but it's just a simple majority.
It takes 2/3 here.
In the full quorum court, we're talking about a committee meeting last week.
Still takes 2/3 here. I don't know what you're arguing.
I understand what you're saying, and it sounds like a play on words. So are you saying it's 2/3 here? We're talking about a committee meeting from last week where there was 7 votes.
Justice.
Are you speaking to the quorum court?
Justice Franklin. Justice Franklin.
Let's just be clear for clarity.
Justice Franklin.
Let's be clear for clarity.
Justice Franklin.
Let him answer.
Justice
It's a
Franklin.
clear distinction on how many votes we need to pass on. Now, he threw it out there 2/3. We're in the quorum court. We're talking about a committee meeting.
No.
Did we have the votes to pass it legally or did we not?
Justice Franklin.
Yeah, the attorney has already asked us not to ask him anything that will cause him to referee.
But he volunteered information.
I understand. So we're pushing him to referee when he doesn't want to referee. I think we ought to respect his request not to force him to have to referee.
I'm just quoting the law. It was just clear. If the law is clear, I'll tell you.
Okay. Let's proceed. Justice Franklin, the reason that those items that you had did not go through the committees, some of them did, some of them did not. Even though they was from the agenda that came out of my office. Those items that you did not have that came out of the county clerk's office, you took them straight to finance. Those items did not go through human resource, public safety, and so therefore they weren't passed on to finance. Now,
Did you not pass the technology out of finance just then?
Now.
Financial. Isn't that what y'all just did?
Justice Franklin, don't you get tired? Don't you get tired? Do you not get tired?
Yeah, we're
Now.
tired. We are very
Yeah.
tired.
Yes.
We are tired.
Now
of
listen,
fighting
Justice Franklin.
for the right to vote. We're tired of fighting
Justice Franklin.
for our votes to count. We're tired. We're very tired. We've been tired. We super tired. But you choose to be judge, jury, and executioner and make decisions based on things, and you want to keep the court at a disadvantage.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion. Justice Franklin, why are you still arguing? We're about to end this. Again, we're gonna continue to be at an impasse.
This is real simple. We have 2 agendas. And my memory serves me, only 3 of those items that's on that agenda was not put on the agenda that we passed on. We are willing to put those agendas on and discuss them right now, so we can do the whole agenda.
All of it.
All of them, right now.
I am willing that if we take those items through those proper committees and add them to the budget. So that's what I'm saying. So either way it goes, we're going to be at an impasse. So
That's not an impasse. That's called.
no, You call it what you want. I know. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm tired of being labeled as your people. I am here, I was elected to serve my district. First of all of you that are sitting here, last year, and all those people, we had no problem. We had, well, yes, here we go. We had no problem passing. We did something to accomplish a whole lot. Now all of a sudden this year we have not accomplished anything. And all the procedures that we use, those procedures have worked for years. And budget year comes, it was accompanied by the procedures, the previous procedures. But for some strange reason, now all of this year, not.
Proceed. Go ahead.
And it makes absolutely no sense. If you could accomplish as much as this Quorum Court accomplished last term with those procedures, it was just silly to want to change it. But I need to be excused because I can't deal with this. I really can't.
Thank you, Justice Johnson. Being that, again, I'm willing to take those through the proper committees.
Point of order.
Justice Carroll, wait. There's no point of order. Justice Carroll.
There's a motion on the floor with a second.
Justice Carroll. Being that, again, they did not come through those committees, then with these items and not going through the Budget and Finance and apparently the Quorum Court, that the majority, or how you put it, the supermajority.
That's not a question, Judge.
I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting so that we can move on.
I have some people who are here from the community.
So moved.
We have people here from the community who have other concerns as well. I'd like for the people who came from District 6, if you would mind, if they could have some words to say for their district. Are you willing to do that?
I have no problem with anybody from the public that wants to speak, even though the meeting is over. Come on.
I think we have people here from the community.
Thank you, Ms. Marguerite, appreciate it. Yeah, our roads in the county are horrible. I know it costs money to repair them and all, but Stewart Road, Curtis Road, Dogwood, Jacks, all those roads are horrible. I run a tire the first of the year and had to replace it, between $200 and $300. We have potholes that are this big, this deep. Patching these holes doesn't do anything. Y'all are wasting money on having everybody come through, putting stuff out. You're wasting material, payroll, gas for your trucks. Right now, I believe you're doing Brown Cemetery Road in one other. That's 15 miles from us. That road's been done 2 or 3 times before you get to our area. And it's horrible. You go up and down the road, and it's just like rubble. You just jogs you to death. Now, I like I say, I realize it takes money, but how about putting a little bit? You know, it doesn't. I don't think it would cost that much. The road originally was graded, gravel was put down, and what oil or whatever that is that you put over it. That was the original way the road was. And it stayed good until we get these large trucks and all. But we do need our road fixed very, very bad. It is just full of potholes and all. And that's what we have to say is Stewart Road, Jacks Road, Curtis Road, and Dogwood Forest back into our area on District 6. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just got a couple of questions for you, and just to clarify a few things. And I appreciate you for coming and speaking to the Quorum Court and expressing your opinion. We always value when the citizens come in to express their point of view. Even so, sometimes they may not fully understand the complexity of it. You stated that we needed, and I just want to clear that up, that we needed an attorney so that we can get paid. We needed an attorney because the county judge filed a lawsuit.
That you need to get paid.
What was the statement?
I said you need an attorney to fight one another, is what I said.
Well,
but either way it goes, at the end of the day, you're gonna need an attorney out of the taxpayers' dollars to go to court. Bottom line.
So my question, or the statement, and then the follow-up question was, the statement was just that the lawsuit against the Quorum Court was filed by the county judge against us. So we let me at least get it out.
No, I understand. Let me say this. I understand all of that.
Okay, got it.
I hear that.
All right.
Everybody done heard that.
Okay, so now I just want to get to the problem of what we were talking about. You said you hadn't been paid in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and just for the record, can you state your name so all the JPs who don't know, you know who you are?
Damaris Mills.
Damaris Mims. Okay, Ms. Mims, what services do you provide?
Cleaning.
Cleaning services. Okay. And to what offices do you provide the cleaning services to?
Health department.
Health department. Okay. So health department. Who do you bill for your services?
You guys.
Which particular department is not a you guys? Your bill has to go. It's not a Jeff. So if you're building Jefferson,
listen.
No, I'm trying to get to the bottom of it.
Let me say this, because I'm not on trial.
No. I'm trying to understand.
Take it up with the judge's office.
So what I'm trying to understand is, and I'm fighting for you. I'm advocating right here. If you hadn't get paid, I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. So if you turn it in to the health department, so.
No, I send an email through here.
Okay.
To the county.
To the county. So as far as the health department, we haven't received any legislation for the health department all year.
I'm not in those rules and all that. All I'm saying,
but
I got you.
When you say 3 months and we haven't seen any legislation concerning the health department.
Don't ask me those questions. All I'm saying is I haven't gotten paid.
Right.
You gotta go back that way.
And just to be clear,
okay.
When we start off the year, every department has a budget. And they're supposed to stay within their budget. Now, we know sometimes they go over budget, but they have their budget that's set for the year. So the cleaning services, that doesn't really change. That sounds like something that's a fixed rate throughout the year. Am I right?
Go back that way.
Is it a fixed rate that you provide for your services? That's a yes or no, though. Is it a fixed rate or does it vary?
Wait just a minute. Hold on. Wait just a minute. Justice Franklin.
Does it come through your office? Justice
Franklin, the mere fact that you talk about the budgets and staying within your budgets, there are many times we do supplemental appropriations.
Correct.
We do know that goods and services, whether it be inflation or whatever, things go up. So sometimes departments have to come back.
Which brought me to my question of whether it varied or was it a fixed amount?
Let me finish. So therefore, those services that she's paid out of has been brought to this court.
Under what?
3 or 4 months. Under professional services, under contracts, under all those lines.
Which offices? I haven't seen a company.
Probably because you hadn't read the agendas.
We can pull the agenda.
You can pull every one of them, and every one of them, even where it says professional service. Justice Franklin, even the ones that when we showed them to you, described them to you, the fact of the matter is
you've never described anything. We questioned you on things, and you said it's a line item. It's a line item, ain't it?
Ain't that what you said?
It's a line item.
You talk about knowing the budgets.
Yeah. Right.
No matter what it is, everything has to be paid from a line item.
You have to explain what your expenses are.
You are a justice of the peace.
Right.
And been a justice of the peace.
Right.
Understand what line items are. You also work in the county judge's office.
Right.
And so you already know what line items are. So if I tell you line items, and I'm having the list of where it comes from, where it's going to, then Justice Franklin, all you have to do is read your agenda item and you'll know what we're talking about. You even, while y'all talking, you even voted down legislation that would pay your attorney from the lawsuit that the sheriff filed, that would pay that. You guys voted that down. Voted it down.
If you piggyback things and give us a pork bill full of a whole bunch of other stuff and don't allow us to separate it, pull out what doesn't need to be in there, you want to throw in 30 things and ram it down our throat, and we being stewards of the taxpayers' money. Stewards of the taxpayers' money.
You guys.
Stewards of the taxpayers' money.
Mr. Franklin.
We're through with it because
You said special services.
Special services.
That's what you said.
Special services and what?
Special services. Thank you. Same thing. Thank you.
340,000.
340,000. I apologize. I think it's atrocious you've gone 3 months without getting a check.
I do.
And I want to personally apologize to you for that. Because like you said, we're here supposed to be taking care of business. And for whatever reason, we're not doing our job. And whether you vote this way, that way, or whatever, what you ought to be voting for is the betterment of all our districts in this county, just not our individual districts. So I would like to sincerely apologize to you for having to wait so long with your money. I don't know how important that is.
Thank you. Ms. Gaddy?
Thank you so much for coming. But it's two things that, well, it's one thing you said and another thing that's like here. I represent District 13, that's across the river, everything across the river.
Okay.
And I can truthfully say, because I have checked myself, I'm going back to the road department. Those peoples are, and I can commend you all. They are doing a good job out in my area now. They are. They're really doing a good job because I didn't raise much hell in here like that. I have. A lot of hell up in here. And you mentioned something about the medication. I've been sick and I've been trying to get my medication for the last 3 or 4 months.
I understand. I heard you on the line.
Okay, and the medicine was gonna cost me $1,600.
Your diabetic medicine, I heard you.
Mm-hmm. And I talked to the judge about that because I didn't feel like, well, I couldn't pay no $1,600 a month for just one medicine in the first place.
Okay.
And I didn't feel like that I should pay that kind of money when I'm paying for insurance here. Hard up. But I can say this, the judge, I'm gonna give you some props. I don't always give you props, but I'm gonna give you one now. He did help me by contacting the provider. And the judge and I and the provider was on the phone. 3 months, you know you can't do that medicine.
I heard him when he said call. I heard him when he said come to his office. Yes.
Yeah. And it's a once a week medication. I got 4. You know what I'm talking about. That I have to inject myself.
Right, Ozempic. I heard you.
Okay. I need that. I needed that medicine. I have it now.
Gotcha.
And to you, Judge, I appreciate. Look at me. Ooh. I appreciate what you done. Because you told me that I was going to the wrong place. I didn't know. I do appreciate you calling the provider. Because I had called everybody in the United States, I think. Because my doctor said I had to have this medication. So, thank you.
Ms.
Thank you, Rick.
And again, I want to echo what others have said in terms of appreciating your straightforwardness in coming tonight, taking your time. You to Justice Williams. All the time when we're here, things don't happen like we would like them to. And you spoke of special services. Well, we voted against some legislation that was not identifiable except line item. And I did ask the question, what is this? And it was told me it was a line item. Then I received a call after the meeting that said that the money we refused to appropriate was part of the money that was going to be paid from my dead brother's name be put on a monument. Now, my brother gave his life for this country as a Marine. He experienced infield amputations, below the knee on one leg, above the knee on the other leg, sustained over 90% burns over his body. And my vote against some legislation that I felt like not enough information was given to vote for it directly impacted me. And it hurt me. But in doing what I think is the right thing, I did not vote for that legislation, but I'm only one vote, and sometimes it feels like that one vote is being blamed for all the other votes, and that's not the case. But I suffered as you have suffered. Matter of fact, my suffering goes back ever since the VA building has been. And they are not forthcoming. So I apologize, but I sympathize with you, and I hope we can do better.
Thank you, Ms. Dottie. Exactly. Let me say that bills were provided, line items were shown to be in the negative. So those explanations were there, where you could see that line items go in the negative. As a matter of fact, those supplemental appropriations of a tune of $967,000 to the sheriff's office, the appropriations for the assessor's office went through without one question being asked. One. And I know that there's not a full understanding of how the sheriff's office worked from any of these individuals. But they were passed without dissent. And so it leaves us to this. Those line items to which we pay you were appropriately documented so that those items could be paid for you to be paid. True enough that when the budget was presented, you were being paid out of those budgets. But due to the fact that we needed supplemental appropriations because of inflation, because of not getting things done, having to move money around, that's why that expenditure or those line items had to be utilized. So therefore, those monies that we had for the buildings, and I must correct Justice Carroll, those are buildings. So in order to add his brother's name to that comes out of the building group, which is a department that falls under the county judge, just like recycling, just like the road department. So we have different budgets and different line items. Those were presented to be so that we could take care of this, to continue to pay you and to do what Justice Carroll's request was. Now, he said one thing very important. He said his brother did not enlist here. His brother was not on the Arkansas Veterans Department as a soldier from Arkansas. That's why his name was not on the registry. So when we built those buildings, it was because, again, those names was because of all on the registry. Now, the company that we use was in constant contact with the Veterans Affairs Office, and we went through those names several times from the registry. And because it was such a concern to Justice Carroll that his brother, even though he was not on the registry, we were still going to put it at his request. And I think because he's from Arkansas, I agreed to do so. But the legislation that was presented was voted down. And so, again, it's a simple measure. If there wasn't an understanding, we can get understanding. A lot of times we can get understanding before we even come to these meetings. When those from committee, if there's any questions, always willing to communicate. So I apologize that you have not gotten paid, but I will advise you of this. You have a right to be paid. And if we cannot get there, even though it was a contractual agreement, I have presented it to them, and there should be an obligation. This is taxpayers' money. It's not like we're asking for money that we're going to put in our pocket and take home. It is to conduct the business of this county, period. Whether we feel like you opening up a blank check for one department or another, it is taxpayers' money. And so with that, I appreciate you for coming forward. Now, I know there's a lady from the museum. I want her to speak.
Okay, but at the end of the day.
You got to get paid.
She got to pay. Ms. Mims, and I would just like to state that in the past 3 months, there's 2 appropriations that go down that way. There's one for the road department, which I'm pretty sure you're not paid out of that fund, and it's $340,000 for other professional services. And going through the packet that he turned in, there is no description of any other professional services within that $1 million that he's asking for. But secondly, under buildings, he has listed here where he's asking for another $312,000, and under other professional services, there's $90,000 that he's asking for. And there's invoices in here from various attorneys from some of these lawsuits that the Quorum Court is not even aware of. But I say that to say that your invoice is not in here. So whatever we vote on, it didn't have anything to do with you. It wasn't personal. It's the fact that when they come forth to ask for additional funding, we have to understand where it's going to be spent and what it's spent on. We can't just hand out a blank check for $340,000 or $1 million, and when we ask, what are you using it for, someone to say it's a line item. You follow what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, it's not personal to us. When we ask, there's no backpack full of cash at the end of the rainbow for us. When we're in here and we ask these questions and we can't get answers, we can't vote for it. If I can't explain to my constituents, why did you guys give him $1 million? You don't know what he's going to do with it.
I got you. So that was a reason for me to get up. Like I said, I didn't
Right.
know how y'all do it.
Yeah.
All I know is.
But I just wanted you to know, and I looked through it 3 times. Your invoice is not in here. The only thing we see is a bunch of attorney's fees for some lawsuits that I have no clue what they're about, and I'm on the Quorum Court. So I just want you to know that we don't know. We don't micromanage offices. The only thing we do is appropriate funds.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Mia, could you provide what we're looking for, name, title?
Beyond Clean.
Beyond Clean.
Thank you.
Hope I'm not as controversial. My name is Pam McFall, and I am the secretary and by default the treasurer of the Pine Jefferson County Historical Museum. So I hope all of you know where it is. It is in a National Register building. It's the old train station. When COVID hit, we imploded. And we've had 2 members that were on our board pass away, the treasurer being one.
and the person who was the vice president was the second one. And by default, I've ended up having to do all of it. And we have so many exhibits, I'm not sure that everybody in our community knows what we have down there. But our main thing is that building. That building is beginning to deteriorate to the point that the millions of dollars we have in collections of Indian artifacts, we have early settlers, we have the railroad, we have all the wars that you can think. We have things from all over, from the Civil War on up. That building is beginning to deteriorate, and when it deteriorates, so do our artifacts, because our artifacts, a lot of them are very, very fragile. And we have one heat and air conditioning, HVAC, that works part of the time, one for that whole big building. So our things are not climate controlled. That is very detrimental to them. We also have had them worked on numerous times. There's no more working on them. And we have fascia boards outside that are rotting. We have had a replaced roof, but our fascia boards and all that, I don't know what you call all that stuff outside, trim and all, it's rotting, and water's going to start coming in again. We have had twice the pipes have burst over the bathrooms because for some unknown reason, the pipes come in the ceiling and floods our thing and has ruined some of our artifacts. And thankfully, Mr. Worthen has been so good to come over there and help. He's sucked up the water and they fixed what they can. They fixed the pipes. But we have sheetrock, we have some of it out of plaster, that there's holes, there's big huge cracks, and they need to be repaired, and a lot of that came from the water damage. We have big holes in the ceilings going, and the door won't shut to the women's restroom, just different things like that. We have broken glass, and because it is a historic building, we have glass that goes like this, and straight down and across, you know, it's specialty glass. So it's not something that we can call just anybody to repair. We have had vandals come and break the windows trying to get in. We've not had that recently. We haven't had that since COVID, thank goodness. But Mr. Worthen went and got us a quote from Reynolds Construction, and to replace the HVAC system throughout the building, do the plumbing. We have several toilets and urinals and things and sinks that do not work. Like I told you, the interior sheetrock and painting, the exterior fascia boards replaced and painting in the glass, and we do not have a phone. We've not had a phone since COVID hit. And I know now the county is on the internet over, or phone over internet or whatever. Is that right? Voice over, whatever, thank you. I taught special ed too long. That is what we would like to have for us, and that really won't cost the county anymore. We were having to pay for outside internet service, and we were paying for our long distance fees, which I think according to that kind of phone system doesn't have long distance fees. So the county would be able to put that into our building, and we're only asking for one phone line. There used to be 3 or 4 over there, but we only need one phone line. We don't need a fax line or anything like that. Our computers are old. They've been rained on. The director's office has a huge hole in the ceiling. And, but our main things are getting the building stable and getting the building to where it can house the things. Ms. Trulock and I, and she's who started this museum, she's an advisor to our board. She and I have been over there going through getting damaged things that are no longer of any use to us and things that should not have been there. People have been making it a dumping ground. If they want to clean out their attic, they bring it to the museum. And the little man that's there is 83 years old, and he doesn't know what to do other than fill out a form and take it. And we have some unusual items, but we also have some very tremendous items that are worth a lot of money over there, and we should be very proud that we have the things that we have in the Jefferson County Historical Museum, because we have had people from the Smithsonian Institution ask about the Garland Gray portrait and the Garland Gray uniform, people want to borrow some of our things, but we've not had the ability to do that because we've been just kind of trying to paddle as hard as we can and keep our head above water. So that's what we had asked the judge. We met with him and Mr. Worthington and some other people in the community that were concerned about the museum, and we'd like for it to be open every day, but right now we can only have it open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 10 to 2. So if you get an opportunity, go down there and look. A lot of the displays have been there for a long time, so if you've been there, you've probably seen them. But we have a display. Who is the man that they're going to come get this stuff? H.J. Lewis. H.J. Lewis. The Smithsonian's doing a thing at the Art Center, and they asked for all of our information on H.J. Lewis, and we have a big display on him. And they're going to come get that Friday. We're going to loan it to the Art Center, and so go down there and look at that. And I just want to say I'm proud to be on the board. I've been on it since 2014, and we've been through a rocky time, and I've been to 2 of these meetings, and I hope I don't have to come anymore. Thank y'all so much for what you do. I know it's a hard job, and you've been elected by the people who live in your zone. I think Mr. Hardman's in my zone, but I appreciate all of y'all that you take your time to do this, and I appreciate the judges helping us.
I've been to the museum several times, especially within the school system. I would certainly appreciate if it was in your schedule to visit with us at least once every 6 months to update us on what is going on over there, because all the time the judge's schedule or those meetings we're not privileged to, we're not part of, and other than hearing your comments here tonight, you may not have known the seriousness of the problem at the museum. So it would be great if that was part of what you would do for us in the future. You share with them again, as we spoke about some of the other items. When we look at proposed legislation, we don't always see exactly what is transpiring. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It is a good thing when that kind of legislation is in an ordinance or proposal by itself. And when a person like yourself is invited to come and share with us, and we can follow your narrative or your outline with what you've said, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and I'll be happy to do that. I don't mind coming and letting you know how we're progressing. We do need a director. If y'all know anybody that might be good, let me know.
Well, you stated that you have contacted Reynolds Construction.
I have not contacted Reynolds Construction.
You have a bid.
Mr. Warner Wortham did it.
Okay, but you have a bid.
I do have a bid.
And you turned that bid in?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did. It's for a total of $145,479 for all of that I mentioned. And we had a single bid for the HVAC alone was over $58,000, and Mr. Reynolds, he agreed to that. He said it probably would have been more if he had given us a bid, but that he would honor that. So you're talking, I'm not sure if it's 3 or 4 heat and air conditioning units, but we have 1. And it's not even where our artifacts, we have a lot of artifacts stored. We have a big storeroom, and it's not even air conditioned or heated in there. So, it's people have given things, and our children need to see them. I used to take kids there on field trips when I was teaching, and they loved it. And we have several things they can hunt for, like a scavenger hunt throughout the museum. But we need a director. I mean, I'm retired to keep my grandchildren. Ms. Trulock is retired. All the people on our board are retired that we have so far, and he's going to appoint some other people to help us. But we need able bodies. Anybody want to come down and help us? We'll take you anytime you want to.
Is your roof still leaking?
No, sir.
Okay, you got it fixed.
Miss Gaines must have gotten that roof fixed because we're not leaking anymore. And Miss Gaines was the treasurer. and she handled that, I'm assuming during the COVID outbreak.
Also, yes, I want to address the, on the rentals, that work would be done on the TIPS program.
Judge,
So you already entered into a contract already with them?
No, we have not. But
Man, I was gonna just say, Judge, with the situation of Beyond Clean and the county museum, I certainly would appreciate entertaining those items in a separate ordinance, like we did Girls Construction, an ordinance that pertains specifically to that particular item versus in a laundry list. And I for one could support either, both of those items, seeing them put forth independently. Matter of fact, can I make a motion? I will adjourn. Sir?
And let me just say for the record, and I'm gonna go on record in saying this, and I appreciate you and everything that you and the board does, but when we get to the point of taking bids, there's a state statute that says when something is over a certain amount, it has to be bidded out. And so this particular item, it has not been bidded out, but I heard the judge reference that Reynolds Construction can do it under tips and taps. And I have a concern with that because I haven't seen any county policy where Jefferson County has opted into the tips and taps program. I know that's totally over your head, but I'm just putting it out for the rest of the JPs. There is no legislation where we've opted into this tips and taps program to avoid the bidding process in Jefferson County, and that's a concern.
Anybody else? Nothing? Thank you.
Oh, that would work. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. That's the most common sense I've heard. So, man, do you understand that? Do you understand that?
No.